Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
If you think that the attempt to assassinate Donald Trump is the first, here are the most famous assassination attempts on presidents of the United States of America. On January 30th, 1835, during the funeral of Congressman Aaron Davis, a number of dignitaries in the United States of America attended, including US President Andrew Jackson. Among those attending the Capitol building in Washington was a British man named Richard Lawrence. He was suffering from psychological disorders and believed himself to be the legitimate king of Britain. He talked about lending a huge sum of money to the United States government and demanded the return of what he thought was his money. Either he would declare war on the government and liquidate senior officials in the government. Richard armed himself with 2 pistols and approached the president and fired from both pistols. But the pistol malfunctioned, and the 67-year-old president armed himself with his walking stick and beat the man until the guards intervened and arrested him. News circulated that the assassination was planned by political opponents, but the trials proved that Richard was suffering from psychological disorders and that he was not guilty, and he was placed in a psychiatric hospital. On April 14, 1865, while attending a theatrical performance at Ford's Theater, American President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by theatrical actor John Wilkes about 5 days after the Confederate Army surrendered Northern Virginia to the Union Army, thus ending the Civil War. He thought that killing Lincoln would revive the cause of the South. The killer sneaked into the president's box in the theater and shot him from behind, wounding him with 2 bullets. He stabbed the officer accompanying the president with a dagger when he tried to catch him. He jumped into the theater, although he broke his leg. He managed to escape because the audience was busy with the president, and he escaped with help on the back of a horse. The president was taken to the house of a representative near the theater, but his injury was serious and he died as a result. The killer, who was found hiding on a farm in Virginia, was chased. The farm was set on fire to force him out, but he resisted, so security men were able to kill him. On July 2, 1881, American President James Galverdi was assassinated at the railway station in Washington, D.C., while he was going to spend a summer vacation in New Jersey. Charles Guiteau sneaked up behind the president and fired 2 bullets at him, the first hitting his shoulder and the second his back. It penetrated the vertebrae and settled in the pancreas. Guiteau was arrested by the police, and the president was transferred. To the White House for treatment, Charles Guiteau was a lawyer and wrote one of the letters to Galverdi's campaign. He thought he deserved to be rewarded and to be given any political job, but the new administration refused to do so, which made him despair and take revenge. As for the president, the doctors tried to extract the bullet from his body, but due to the primitive medical tools at that time, his condition deteriorated and he died on September 19, 1881, 79 days after the assassination attempt. Charles Guiteau was tried and found guilty of premeditated murder. He was sentenced to death and executed on June 30, 1882. On September 6, 1901, American President William McKinley was assassinated while he was in the music hall at the All-American Exposition in New York. Leon Czolgosz, a member of the anarchist organization, decided that it was his duty to kill the American president as a symbol of oppression and tyranny. The anarchist group appeared in the late 19th century in the wake of political and economic fluctuations in the country and carried out some acts of sabotage and assassination. The president died on September 14th, and Czolgosz was executed as a murder convict and a member of a subversive group. On February 15, 1933, US President Franklin Roosevelt was targeted before he officially assumed the duties of president by Giuseppe Zangara. While Franklin was giving a speech from an open car in Bayfront Park in Miami, Florida, Zangara fired bullets randomly in the direction of the president, but he injured some of the audience, including them. Chicago Mayor Anton Cermak, who later died of his injuries. The killer with strange political motives was arrested, as he declared that he hates all presidents and kings and blames them for the misery of his life. He was considered guilty of murdering the mayor of Chicago, and the death sentence was carried out in March 1933. On November 1, 1950, there was an assassination attempt on U.S. President Harry Truman by two Puerto Rican nationalists while he was staying in Blair's house during the renovation of the White House. One of the president's guards was injured, one of the attack elements was killed, and the other was arrested. He was sentenced to death, then his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. On November 22, 1963, while U.S. President John F. Kennedy's motorcade was passing downtown in Dallas County, Texas, Kennedy was riding in an open carriage with his wife, Texas Governor John Connally, and his wife. Kennedy was fatally shot by former Marine Harvey Oswald. Oswald was arrested sometime later. Shortly, he was accused of killing the president and another policeman who was killed after the incident. 2 days after the incident, while Oswald was being transferred from the city jail to the county jail, he was killed at the Dallas Police Headquarters by a nightclub manager named Jack Ruby, who died shortly thereafter. Kennedy's case remains a mystery until now, and some reports say that his assassination was a conspiracy. U.S. President Gerald Ford was subjected to 2 assassination attempts in 1 month, the first on September 5, 1975, and the second on September 22 by 2 women. The first, Lynette Fromm, tried to kill him while giving a speech in the Capitol building in Washington, but a secret agent managed to control her. The second attempt was while Ford was leaving a hotel in San Francisco. Sarah Moore fired a bullet at the president, but a bystander quickly intervened and the bullet deflected. No one was injured, and she was arrested. The motive in both attempts is to be influenced by radical ideas and to try to draw attention to issues politically. They were charged with attempting to assassinate the President of the United States of America and sentenced to life imprisonment. On March 30, 1981, Ronald Reagan was subjected to an assassination attempt after giving a speech at the Washington Hilton Hotel. While he was leaving to get into his car, the mentally disturbed John Hinckley sneaked into the crowd and shot the president, which led to Ronald being shot in the chest, and another group in the crowd was injured. Ronald Reagan was taken to the hospital and treated. After Hinckley was arrested, he said that he was obsessed with actress Jodie Foster and wanted to attract attention. The court found that he was not responsible for the crime because he was mentally ill and was admitted to a psychiatric hospital.